I have been exiled by my own race. You guys, I don't even know what this video means. I don't know what this video, is going to be about, but what can I say? Let's get into the video.
Okay, right now, I want to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a reject within your own race. You see, in my opinion, I feel like if you are a black man who is non stereotypical, your life is going to feel like a curse.
Well, okay, let me say this, in terms of how this guy is feeling, sometimes and I don't want to say I feel the same way and I get where he's coming from, but I feel like I feel the same way sometimes, but anytime I start to feel that way, I feel like I need to go out there and socialize with other black people, other Nigerians, because I'm not, Canadian, African American. I'm Nigerian first. So sometimes when I feel that way, I feel like okay, maybe I should just, hang out with my Nigerian friends and stuff like that. Because it's you can feel exiled, especially when you live in the West where there isn't a lot of, interaction with friends and family, unlike when you live like in Nigeria where you're bumping into someone every single day, but let's see what he has to say.
It is easier to exist in this world as a black guy who fits into the stereotype. And I believe that's the case because within the black community, if you do not adhere to the prescriptive ideas of what it means to be a black person, you're going to be tortured everywhere you go.
Well, yeah, but like that's how it is though. Like people vibe with what they like relate with, and more times than not, stereotypes for the most part, not like a solid 8.5 out of 10 times. A lot of stereotypes are true, you know. A lot of stereotypes are true. So like if it's a stereotype that black people enjoy partying, and you don't party, but then you look outside and it's like, well, they are partying, then chances are, yeah, like other black people that do those activities are going to find other people that do those activities. So it's cool. But like if it's one of them ones where you're like, yeah, like like me for example, I'd be like, I just like being in my room and I like making YouTube videos. Of course it's going to be a different life experience for me because I don't do what a lot of people stereotypically do.
Because everywhere you go, black people are going to view you and see you as an outsider. You're going to be labeled as whitewashed or an Uncle T, if you catch my drift, or they're going to call you a raccoon, just simply due to the fact that you do not conform to their idea of what it means to be black. Like, I never understood that. How is a black person supposed to act? How is a black person supposed to be, talk? What is a black guy supposed to listen to?
And I get where he's coming from, but like there are just things like yes, everybody should be their own person, and this is a big world. There's like 8 billion of us. You can't find your people. There's people just like you. I promise you, but you know when it comes to stereotypes, and I'm telling you, stereotypes are 8 out of 10 times true. If you just adhere to the stereotype, you will find a bigger pool of people.
Like growing up, I always felt opposite to what they told me black was. So in my mind, I never felt attached to my race, or I never felt attached enough to my race to make my entire personality and identity my skin color. So for the longest time, I've always viewed myself as a brain occupying a meat sack or inhabiting a meat sack or a vessel, pretty much. And that has caused me a lot of alienation because I would go over family members' houses and they will all just be dancing at a barbecue or listening to, hip hop songs or R&B songs. And I always felt secluded because I was never into that. I don't hate that culture, but when it came to like black culture or like hood culture or street culture, I never felt attached to it. I was always into alternative things.
Then you find other people that are into alternative things. Like I feel the exact same. Like okay, maybe not the exact same way, but like let me give you guys an example of something that happened in my life. When it was time for me to start making content, like I really wanted to do this YouTube shit. I was hanging out with, Nigerians. Thing about being Nigerian is, like if you're not in school for engineering, being a doctor, being an accountant, one of those big things, then people are going to look down on you. And I said to myself, well, I like being creative, I like making YouTube videos. So, let me leave these people. And for a while I was by myself, like I was just alone. And then I started making my videos, and like eventually, like people started to come around, and people started like, you know saying, oh, I like your YouTube videos, or I like your content. And like, I started to like, I just started to meet like-minded individuals. So like in terms of this, even if you like alternative shit, you will find other alternative people. You're not the only alternative person on the planet.
Music I listened to was alternative. The way I dressed was very alternative. My hobbies and interests were all different from what black people took to. So you can imagine all that did was just label me in their minds as a traitor, and that's so unfortunate, man, because, black people love to talk about how other races treat them badly and how everyone hates black people. We're so tortured by the world and we're victims, and they always fail to acknowledge how black people destroy other black people. And it's like when you do bring that up, they either brush past it quickly or they just invalidate your experience.
That is true, though. That is true. There are lots of people that hate us. Okay, I'm going to stop pausing it now. Let's get this video run through. Because if not, like I have so much to say about what he's saying, and yeah, let me chill for like 3 minutes.
In most black people's minds, racism or hatred or discrimination only matters when it's coming from a white person. And that's what black people have been indoctrinated to think. They think that black on black hatred or black on black bullying or black on black violence doesn't matter that much. It's like that's why I don't talk to anyone IRL about this, because it's just going to be an endless argument and I'm tired of arguing. This video was not to preach self-hate. I'm not making this so you can, be on my side. I'm just trying to share my experience because I'm tired of black people being hypocrites. It's just, I don't know, it's backwards to me. It's so backwards. But yeah, man, my experience as a black outsider was just very brutal. Growing up, going to inner city schools, black kids.
And mind you, also, everything is your state of mind. That's the crazy thing. Everything is your state of mind. If you feel like you don't belong, if you feel like you don't deserve to be in the room, if you internally feel like alienated, then people are going to treat you as such. You need to feel like, yes, I belong. You need to feel like, yes, I'm alternative, but then, I'm cool. And when you start thinking that, your style is cool, people are going to fuck with you, and people might even take a page from your book. So everything just comes from like within. It's not the people that are outside that are, putting you down. You are putting yourself down from within.
Would pick on me every single day. The black boys would physically assault me and call me names and just bully me every day. And it got to a point to where I had to defend myself so much that I was always getting sent to the principal's office because I was always getting into fights, and it was just so unfair that I had to go through that treatment. And when it came to black girls, they were very open and vocal about how they felt about me. And it was always negative. They always told me how ugly I was. They always told me that I was lame. They told me I was a loser because I didn't wear Jordans. I didn't wear Nikes. I didn't care about Chief Keef or...
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, you shouldn't like, it's your world, bro. It's your reality. Like, if people say that, yo, you don't fit in, you're a loser, blah 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 blah, something about you is projecting that out into the world. I don't know what it is. So in order for you to experience something different, you have to move in a different frequency. You have to move in a different frequency. You know, be it what's it called? Like, I don't know, bro. If you think, just know that if you think that, like, yeah, I don't belong, I'm weird, you are going to project weird nigga energy. So you just start thinking that you belong, and eventually, like, people are going to come around. That's just literally how life is, bro. If you feel like you don't belong, then people are going to be like, who's this guy? But if you feel like you belong, if you feel like you're cool, you need to feel like you're cool. You need to feel like, people fuck with you, and people that don't fuck with you, then, you know like, screw them, because they don't fuck with you anyways. Like, dead ass. That's that's this guy's issue.
Whatever rapper was popular during that time. You know what I mean? Like, it's so brutal because I was just trying to exist as a normal kid, and I was always lumped into, just some social war or like some identity war. And I didn't care about that stuff. Like, even growing up, I never cared about looking nice. I never cared about dressing like a hood kid. Like, all of the hood kids wore the same exact, like, they all dressed the
Yeah, that's the thing. You do need to care. These are things that you need to care about. You need to care about looking nice. You need to care about smelling good. The way you present yourself is the way everybody else is going to treat you. Me personally, when I started presenting myself as a more confident person, dressing better, carrying myself, that's when people started to, respect me a little bit in society. I'm not going to lie. There was a point in time where your boy was not getting any respect whatsoever. But, like, now things in my life have changed, and that's just because I started moving like someone that deserved respect. So if people are disrespecting you, just move like someone that deserves respect. You know, and you'll be good. Have some spine about yourself.
every hood kid wore Jordans, some type of polo t-shirt or Aeropostale or Hollister, or they wore True Religion jeans because, I went to school like in like I was in middle school in like the mid 2010s or like early 2010s. So like that was the style back in the day, just Hollister, Aeropostale, all of those like name brand clothing, companies or whatever. And even till this day, I am a very minimalistic person. I have one pair of shoes. They're Converses. I don't care about I don't care about anything. Like, I thrift my clothes. I don't care about wearing designer clothing, but not to drag it out. But yeah, that's what all the kids would tease me about because I was just so different. And it just made my high school experience and my middle school experience a living nightmare. But it's funny because when I attended a predominantly white school or a predominantly Hispanic school, I never faced bullying. I never had to fight a white person. I never fought a Hispanic person. The most I could say was that I was still invisible. I was still a loser, but at least I was not getting picked on every single day. You know what I mean?
I get where you're coming from, but that's, if I'm being real, that's just how high school is, though. You know, that's just how high school is. If I'm being real, bro, lots of people get picked on in high school. I was picked on in high school, bro. Like, but then it depends. Like, the way you take it is what really matters. Are you going to beat yourself up and be like, "Oh, I was bullied in high school and now I'm a big loser," and blah blah blah? No, bro. You pick yourself up and you're like, "Well, I learned. I suffered. I went through some serious character development, and now I'm cool." That's how you need to, get up and be like, yeah, like, yeah. You don't have to be like, oh no, my life was so sad and I was, but no, that's not how you move through life.
But it's slightly different when it came to the Hispanic school because when I went to a predominantly Hispanic school, I was more accepted. And it's weird like that. Like growing up for me, I always had a love for Mexican people or just Hispanic people in general because from a young age, I was exposed to Mexican culture because my dad was dating a Mexican girl for a couple of years, and she would bring us around her family, and her family would embrace me, and they used to show me how they, cooked, and they showed me how their culture was from a very young age. I was exposed to Mexican culture, and growing up, I always had a love for Mexican people because of that, because they always showed me love and they always respected me, and it was different. I felt more connected to them than I did to black people. And it's funny too because even Mexican girls were nicer to me. I'll never
Mm.
forget when I was like 16, like one of the cause I mean, it's no surprise I'm still like single. I never had a girlfriend, but one of the only girls in
Damn, bro, never had it. I don't know. Like, you know what's crazy? If I'm being real, when it comes to this never having a girlfriend thing, it really surprises me because it's like, wow, you know, wow. There's some guys out there that have never had a girlfriend, never had their first kiss, and they're like in their 20s, 30s. In my mind, it's just so, I don't know, bro. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Because I think about my flaws, and sometimes I be like, I'm not the best look. But when I hear that there's some guys that haven't had their first kiss, I'm like, wow, some people have it rough.
life who actually found me to be attractive was like this Hispanic girl when I was 16. And, I'm like a mental cell slash, like, I am sub 5, but I am still like a mental cell. But
When you think that you're all these what is a sub five, bro? What is a sub five? You guys, if I'm being real, anybody can be attractive. This attractive, like it's not rocket science. Especially if you have money, bro. Especially if you have money. So let me tell you guys how to be attractive. One, shower, brush your teeth, take good care of yourself. Number two, work out, run, play sports, lift weights. Number three, what's number three? Number three, you know, if I'm being real, once you do those two things, you are going to start feeling like different about yourself. You're going to start, feeling like, yeah, like I'm the one, I'm him or I'm her. Girls, do some makeup, you know, do some makeup, smell nice, you know, wear nice clothes and, do all those things. And bro, once you start doing those things, you're not going to feel like a loser. You're going to feel like, you're going to feel like, yeah, I'm nice.
I never talked to her, right? I don't know, I was too in my own head at the time. I thought that no one could find me attractive, but supposedly I was told that this Hispanic girl called me cute or whatever, but I didn't believe whoever told me that anyway. But yeah, but that never happened with black girls. Black girls never told me I was attractive. And it's not just about women. It's not just about girls. I'm just saying like they they didn't judge me because I feel like other races and other cultures don't have the same standards as black people. Black people have the standard that if you're not some street person, you're just not cool at all.
Let me know that we do have high standards though. Let me know that is true. We have like ridiculous standards as black people. Let me know that. I have a friend that dated a white guy. If this guy that she dated, if you reverse him and he was black, she would never ever date him.
Whereas I know there are Mexican gangs, I know there are like hood white people as well, but it's not the same thing. I feel like black people play street culture at the forefront. They make that the main focal point of black culture. Like, you could disagree all you want, but that's really true. I swear to goodness that's true. Look up every black person who's rich in this world, in this society. Most of them are going to be rappers or they're going to be some form of a stereotype. And you can't argue with that. Like, all you see is that in your community. Like, go to any black community, you will always see black people portraying the stereotype. And most likely, those people have a greater time within the black race. Like, they're always going to be more accepted. Like, white kids even want to, copy ghetto black people. You don't see black kids trying to copy Neil deGrasse Tyson or Basquiat. you see black kids and white kids trying to imitate NBA YoungBoy or Chief Keef or King Von. Like, that's how it is. So I
Yeah.
know there's some truth to what I'm saying, right? And I'm not the only black guy, or I'm not the only black person
He's not wrong. Everybody wants to act tough. Everybody wants to act tough. Besides me though, I'm from the suburbs in Nigeria, bro. I grew up very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. I grew up with some privilege, bro. I'm not even going to lie, and I thank God every day. I will never act as if I'm from any street or any hood.
who has experienced what it's like to be an outsider. I have watched so many videos of black people experiencing the same exact things as me, and they also talked about it. And I watched, not watched, but well, I watched and I read like posts.
Like you go outside and you see people with like, pretending like they're hood, they wear the hoodie, they're rapping, they're like, yeah, I grew up in the streets, I grew up in the hood, blah 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 blah. What? You grew up in, a gated community. You're from, the suburbs. Everything was nice. You had food on the table. When I hear some people rapping about struggle, I'm like, struggle, bro. Your dad owns a G wagon. What do you mean struggle? What?
Forums about black people and their experiences as well. So yeah, it's a thing that no one likes to talk about. It's always going to be the elephant in the room. So it's best for you to just, I don't know, man, just seclude yourself. That's what I did. I started to just seclude myself from black people because it's like, I kid you not, man. Everywhere I go, it's the same treatment. I lived in a lot of states, man. I lived in a lot of fucking states. And every single time, it's like black people just notice. It's like black people can tell that I'm different. Or they can tell I'm an outsider. Because they just treat me so weird. Like, it's just so unfair, man. And I did have a couple of like black acquaintances in school, but they were always autistic or like neurodivergent, which
Damn.
I liked because I realized that the autistic slash neurodivergent black kids, they were all cool. They were all nerds just like me. They liked the same things I like.
Yeah, then you hang out with the people that are just like you. Like I said, just hang out with the people that are just like you and you'll be good.
And most of the time they were picked on just like I was picked on as well. So yeah, so those were the only black kids who I took to. But all of the other black kids were so focused on fitting in and trying to gain the acceptance of total strangers, and that concept never made sense to me. I always thought it was trivial to seek validation from kids that you're not going to remember 10 years down the line. Like, no one's going to care that you came to school with the
Oopsies, guys. My battery died. Need to switch that again.
Jordans in 10 plus years. I always thought that was meaningless. And I'm not saying that to sound like I'm above people or that I'm smarter than people. I'm just saying, like, to me, it's so trivial to seek acceptance from human beings. It really is to me. But school aside, even within my own family, I'm treated like a black outsider or an outsider in general. Like, I'll never forget when my older brother told me that I'm not like him. And he told me that me and him have nothing in common. One time he told me that
Damn, that's tough coming from your older brother, though. I can't even lie. Me and my younger brother were quite different. Well, actually, quite different. But, you know, we also have a lot of similarities. A lot of fucking similarities. So like, I don't know. I could never look at like any of my brothers and be like, yeah, we're different. I have two younger brothers. One is literally me. Like he's like I'm the youngest one. He's exactly like me. But the second one, he might be watching this video because he likes my videos. The second one, you know, we're a bit different. We're a bit different. But that's still my dogs, bro. That's still my dogs. A bit different, but then the way we connect just for the fact that we're brothers, it's like, it's crazy.
He felt more close to our cousins, or he felt like our cousin was more of a brother to him than I was. You know, he also said that he felt like his friends were more of a brother to him than I was.
Mm.
And that was brutal for me. At the time, I cared so much. I was deeply affected by that because, I mean, I don't know how many of you out there have an older brother, but for me, for the longest time, I have always looked up to my older brother, but he always rejected me and he always hated me. So I never got that acceptance from my older brother that I craved, you know?
That is painful. That is painful. That is painful. I think about my brothers and I'm like, yeah, no, like I love them. Like I love them so much. Like if I ever hurt my brothers or if I ever did anything to like rude to me or laddie that made them feel bad about themselves or something, so like, I would want to like almost kill myself. Like I love my brothers so much. So like hearing that like there's brothers out there in the world that don't love their brothers or sisters that don't love their sisters is so crazy to me. Like hug and kiss like right now. Like that's your sibling.
And I know I'm kind of like contradicting myself because I was just talking about acceptance, but I feel like it's
Anyways, you guys, I'm going to end the video there, bro. This guy's rant is starting to get depressing, and I don't like feeling depressed over anything. But yo, that's the video. Like, comment, and subscribe, you know, and I'm coming through every single day.